Dan Skelly, the market has a lot of momentum after a fantastic October performance, but can it keep it up through the end of the year?
Yeah, sure, Greg. We actually think you could see some slight upside to the end of the year. But that being said, to your point, October was the best month for the market in 4 years, up about 8%, 8.5% for the S&P. The key drivers from here until year-end, holiday sales are going to be important. We've seen a very strong consumer so far this year, so that'll be a key landmark for the markets. And then secondly, overseas data stabilizing. China of late has seen some better data, particularly on the retail sales side. So we think if those things hold up, the market can do fine into year-end.
And you don't think a Fed rate hike is going to slow down the market, because one stock you like is Fifth Third Bank. And they have a brand new CEO. That stock's up around 5% in the past week, and you think it can keep going?
Yeah, Fifth Third's one of our preferred regional banks. It trades very cheap versus the regionals, 11 times forward earnings versus 14 times for the peer group. So there's two key drivers for Fifth Third. As you mentioned, interest rates. Their portfolio is one of the more sensitive to rate hikes going forward in the regional bank space. You saw the Fed futures pricing in more probability, higher probability of a rate hike in December following that really strong jobs number. So we do think interest rates going higher will be a catalyst. Secondly, there's some changes going on in management. They have a new leader, new CEO. They're consolidating some branches. So we think that we have some expenses to come out, some cost cutting that can also drive earnings growth from here.
And you're also positive on Sempra Energy. Stock's down 10% this year. It's been tough in the energy sector. What makes you think they can make a comeback?
Sure. We added Sempra actually to our dividend portfolio back in September when sentiment was very, very poor on commodity-related stocks. Anything related to commodities was in the dumps, as you remember. We've seen that stock act better. There's a couple of things we like about Sempra from here. First of all, it's more of a growthy utility. Okay, you might be wondering, why are we recommending utilities if we think rates are going higher? Well, they've got about 10% earnings growth. That's much higher than the average utility stock. And we see the LNG export opportunity as a strong long-term driver. They're not getting a lot of value right now for some of the contracts that they've got already in place. These are long-term 20-year contracts. So we see very strong earnings growth and dividend growth for that stock going forward.
And then finally, you are a fan of Microsoft. Finally broke the 50 mark back in October, trading around 15-year highs. It's having a great year. Can they maybe get through $60 a share?
Yeah, absolutely, Greg. We think Microsoft is actually just starting to produce some excellent inflection on its growth. So as you mentioned, they had a very strong quarter, really surprised to the upside in terms of top line and bottom line growth. You saw good results out of the core business, Windows and Office. Some of the data and survey work we've seen at Morgan Stanley shows that companies continue to invest in software, productivity-related initiatives. Microsoft actually screened very well in that survey work as a share gainer. So that's a positive. Secondly, the growth story is really related to cloud going forward. And as we've seen this year with a lot of the pure play cloud names, a lot of the internet names doing extremely well, Microsoft also has a pretty decent penetration in that business, and we see that continue to propel results going forward. So yes, it's had a nice move. We actually added it before the quarter, so we were happy with that decision, but we do see valuation as not that demanding from here. Great dividend payer. They actually raised their dividend 16% earlier this year, so we see it as a pretty steady name in a volatile market.
All right, well, thanks a lot, Dan.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you for watching The Street.